Greetings and welcome to my channel. This is Sorcerer Tal. You can also find me on Facebook in the Sorcerers Guild. Today we are going to be doing something a little bit different on my channel. Normally I don't get into politics, and I'm still going to keep my promise about not telling you who to vote for. But, well, you may have noticed that I did not post a video this Saturday in the Sorcerer's Shadow Volume 2 series, and that's because I became aware of an opportunity in one of my long-term spells, and I have been focusing on that. And, well, we're going to talk about that today and my plans with that spell. Okay, so this actually began clear back in the year 2000 in the political election of George Bush versus Al Gore. Now, this was the first election that I myself ever voted in, and I was very into politics at the time. Those of you that follow me on Facebook probably know my political leanings. I'm pretty into politics still today. But again, like I said, we're not going to talk about who to vote for. In that election, I did vote for Al Gore. And any of you who are familiar with that election know how that worked out. And it wasn't just that Al Gore didn't win. It is that the popular vote went to Al Gore, and the Electoral College went to George Bush, as we have seen happen since then as well. This one, there was also the stuff that happened with Florida, where originally Florida went to George Bush, originally Florida went to Al Gore, and then George Bush said, "My brother promised me Florida, I want to recount." And then we had all the hanging chads and all that type of stuff. Either way, this affected me very deeply at the time. And I actually went into my apartment and cried for a few days. This upset me quite greatly. And during all of that, I saw a rubber chicken. Now, I do have a previous video on a rubber chicken and how it's an old joke that nobody gets. Well, I saw a link between that and the Electoral College and politics, and, well, like I'm going to be talking about in the Sorcerer's Shadow Volume 2, I decided to seize upon a moment of absurdity. Of the ridiculousness of this moment and stretch it out with rubber. So, this is when I began the Rubber Chicken Party. And after that, every 4 years, I voted for a rubber chicken. And I would actually go out and campaign. I used to have a rubber chicken, the one that I saw in that moment, and I would take it with me and tell people that I was running it for president. Now, over the years, because that was 20-something years ago now, that chicken has not fared well, especially with all the things that has happened to it over the years and the magic that I have been putting into that particular working in the political sphere. And the aim was essentially to end the Electoral College, but at this point, the rubber chicken has stretched out and manifested in many different ways, especially in the last few years. You may have noticed a few different things. There was that thing where there was the rubber chicken that was actually floating over the White House for a while Trump was president, and a few other incidences that have involved rubber chickens in the last 6-7 years in politics. There have been quite a few incidents. Anyways, it seems to have had an effect. Things seem to be getting more and more absurd as from that moment forward. Everything has just gotten wilder and crazier and stranger ever since I first grasped a hold of that rubber chicken and began to pull. And for 20 something years now, I have been pulling on that rubber chicken, wielding rubber in the name of democracy. And I have done many spells, but they've all been building up to something as I stretch that rubber back. So this is one of my oldest workings. And the opportunity that I have become aware of is the absurdity entering into the brains of political candidates. And in this case in particular, a presidential candidate. And there is an election coming, and there is a debate coming up, which I believe we will be seeing live. And so, I intend to invoke the rubber chicken. Onto the debate stage and bring a higher level of absurdity to what is already going to be a very maddening debate. Our politics have gone wild in this country. And I'm not saying this is all my fault. And I'm not saying it's necessarily a good thing. But I have pulled on to this rubber chicken. I've been pulling it for 20 something years. At some point, I have to let go and let things snap. And so, we have the rubber chicken party. And though obviously I'm not going to be able to get my candidate, the rubber chicken, onto the debate stage. Which, like I said, I don't have the original. I have another one coming from the same company, the original rubber chicken company. And hopefully it'll be here in time for the debate. I can't guarantee that. But we'll be going live during the debate. And I'm not sure what exactly I will be doing there because most of the workings I'm going to be doing will be before that. And, well, you have to wing it a bit when you were talking about rubber chickens, yes? So we'll stretch it out, see how it goes. And hopefully I will have the other rubber chicken by then. But the idea of the rubber chicken and the spirit of it is much older than 35 years of age and was invented here in America. So, there is not one physical rubber chicken that I am bringing onto the debate stage so that he may have his voice as well. After all, this has all been about vote rubber chicken, yes? I know I just said I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but a rubber chicken isn't a who, it's a what, yeah? So a little bit of a stretch, but vote rubber chicken. Well, vote who you will choose, but that is the invocation that this has been working on. I have been doing this for a very long time. There's only twice that I did not vote rubber chicken. And I'm actually not going to disclose those times, but obviously one of them was that first election. Well, okay, so 3 times since the first time I have voted for president that I have voted for anything but rubber chicken. And mostly to protest the fact that my vote is a joke. But also to build that momentum. To create that link to the absurdity and accentuate the absurdity in our politics until it comes to such a head that we all have to acknowledge it and deal with what has been going on in this country. And that's one thing, no matter which wing you're flapping, I think most of us agree that this country has become absurd, and we have to deal with the insanity. And so, we will stretch out the rubber chicken and fling him on to the debate stage. Astrally, of course. I'm not going to be present at the election itself, but we're going to invoke him onto the stage during the debate. And we'll see how that goes. Anyways, that's going to be it for this episode. I am going to be getting back to our regular programming. You will see a Sorcerer's Shadow Volume 2 video this week on the momentum of a moment, and we will talk much more about that and why I've been wearing this pouch lately, which will be a big part of that discussion. Anyways, that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you once again for joining us. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please take the opportunity to do so now. And at the top of my head, I cannot remember what time the debate is on Thursday, but like I said, watch for a live video during the debate on my YouTube channel. Okay. Thank you once again for joining us. Like I said, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please take the opportunity to do so now and smash that like button. Yeah? That does help. So, until next time, bright blessings and an interesting fate. This has been Sorcerer Tal.